Now then, yeah, wrong. Welcome. A little early this evening. I just want to get into the parish notes quite quickly. We've had some very upsetting news today at the body of the kirk, which I will explain to you. One of the nuns has decided to leave, and I just feel it duty bound that I need to let you know and tell you exactly what's going on. We've had a confessional today. That's all I can say. We've had a confessional, and I will bring that detail to you in but a moment's time. Evening, Les Griffiths. Oh, poor Rachel Reeves, crying during PMQs as she realises she's about to be sacrificed in order to attempt to save Starmer's career. Has he got one? Or a personality? Cuban Pete says, oh, probably crocodile tears at that. She's so hard-faced. Either that, or she'd run out of batteries for the... well, just leave it at that. At least she's not Liz Truss wearing that day collar to the House of Commons. Roy Gordon says, here's a question, one for yes, two for no. Is Rachel Reeves the most sexiest Chancellor we've ever had? Well, it depends which way you swing, Roy. I think she's the only female, so it's the only one we got. Unless, well, you know, you like a bit of bum fun. And in which case it could be Dennis Healey. I am joking, of course, Roy. Please, it's just for fun, no prizes. Are you suggesting I give somebody one, Roy? Stuart, evening, Rev. If you're going for 3 hours tonight, I better bring me piles cushions and extra Battenberg for obvious reasons, just to give you a bit of extra energy, young Stuart. Hang on, I forgot to wipe all me detritus off my glasses. It does tend to get in the way, me glasses. Neil Cunningham says, oh, evening all, hope everyone is well. And Roy, yes, I would. Oh, you mucky tart, Neil. Also saying, so who's going to replace Rachel Thieves? Paul Cuckle, Tinky Winky? Or one of the Fun Boy 3? Or the Four Tops? So, I can see everyone now. Thank you very much. The All Bovril. Evening all. Evening, the All Bovril. Doesn't Reeves look a complete mess in the chambers today? Correct. But be careful, because you missed some stuff in PMQs today, because everybody was thinking, oh, it's poor Rachel. Has her vibrating love balls gone off? Because that's what they would do there. I mean, there's even been female ministers who, is it Celise? A kind of one of those thigh thingies that's got prongs on it, and you have to tie it tight. I only know this from Dan Brown, obviously. Is it Celise, where you wear it under your skirt or your trousers if you're a woman, and it's kind of to remind you of the pain of the Christ. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the House of Commons that I'm aware of, including Rent Boys. And just remember that if you are in Portcullis House, and I'm sure there are a few people here this evening that have access to Portcullis House and the WhatsApp group where you can order Rent Boys like a pizza. Or is that a hot dog? Roy Gordon says, Dennis Healey is a different level. Yeah, those eyebrows, Roy. Chuckle Brothers. And I've just watched Iceland v Finland in the Women's Euros. Utter shite. Neil, I could have told you that before you started watching it. Do we have Euros for ladies? I'm being facetious, of course. I've never seen a women's football match that I thought was actually a football match. Just my thing. I prefer Premiership. Now that Sunderland's back in the Premiership. Hang on, where's Sandra? Near. Oh, yes, right. Okay, got that one. The big Ginge has got a fine pair of fun bags on her. Steady on there, Neil. Roy Gordon, apart from, I think the heat's getting to everyone. I think it's the sunshine, to be fair. Sunshine. Now that Oasis, they're live this weekend, aren't they? In Cardiff. All the rugby boys will be coming down from the valleys, as in the mountains and the valleys. They come down into Cardiff. I used to live there, for a couple of years, whilst I was doing real radio across the south of Wales. It's the only bit of Wales that's occupied, apart from a little bit in the north, but that's where all the Scousers go to hide. Roy says, apart from my question, I hope everyone is okay and nicely cooled off. Oh, 20 degrees cooler today. Oh, there's a relief. And from the heat. Yeah, wrong. I missed last night. Was at the function, so I'm hoping tonight is lively. It's going to be, Roy. You could have caught up during the day. You're wrong, and it was only, I don't know, was there an hour and 20 minutes or something last night? Just had to go and take care of business. I was keeping a secret crush on the big ginge. Hot as, who I say, Roy and Neil. Oh, they've all got, Ginger Growler's got fans in the body of the cook. Oh, hello, Sandra Whittam. What you think to mess at Wednesday? What you think to mess at Wednesday? Hang on, Sandra, what are you talking about? Is it bloody Swahili? Having to train in public park and only 4 players turned up. Oh, I say. Manager and player have given notice. I'm out. Oh, sorry to hear that, Sandra. Mind you, you could probably play better than Sheffield United as they did this year, but I still can't understand why they would get rid of your manager, because he did ever so well for you last season. I mean, you were virtually in the Premiership again. So, I don't know. I can't work out the machinations, Sandra. Paulie Galtieri, good evening, Adrian. You're utter wrong. Evening, Paulie. Yeah, even utterer wrong. Andrew James, it's UFO day today. Is it really? Is that you, Foxtrot Oscar? It's UFO day. What do aliens eat? As I want to leave something out for them. I am not sure. Should ask Michael Jackson. Seemingly, he's driving the 42 bus somewhere in Devon. Good. Cheers, Scarlett Pimpernel. He's on our side. Paul Mabley, I wonder if there's a real person somewhere in the world called Betty Swallows. Oh, there's bound to be. It's bound to be. Did you never, when younger, when there was... I remember getting a telephone when you had to go through an exchange. So you had to pick your phone up and then dial. You get to the exchange, give them the number, and then they would dial onwards for you. Obviously, they want to know what you're up to. And then the miracle that was the Yellow Pages and the phone directory. And I'm sure if someone went through a phone directory from back in the day, there would definitely be a B. Swallows. There must be, surely. Anybody going to Google it? Am I really at number 2 Stalker fan? Yes, you are, Roy. I feel incredibly lucky. Who's number 1 tonight, then? Roy, you've dropped down to 3. Andrew James has moved up to 2. It's like doing the bloody top 40 here at Radio 1. Or men's hairdresser called Shaven Shaven Haven. I don't think that's a men's hairdresser somehow, Roy, young fellow. Andrew James, someone said in the Daily Mail's comments, mentioned they went to school with a boy named Wayne Kerr in the 1960s. W-K-E-R-R, I think was his name. Evening all. Yeah, Rollins from Louis Hampson. Just getting everyone's feet under the table. And Tom Harney's evening all. As a wrongin' philosopher once said, I love the smell of Battenberg in the morning. It smells of a bloody good time. Bloody thing. So, what are we going to do tonight? Hang on, I'm going to just mention Napoleon Bonaparte, who's in the body of the Kirk from the US of A. Napoleon Bonaparte, welcome to the body of the Kirk, sir. Good evening, Reverend Rongan and fellow Battenbergers. What are we talking about tonight? Diddy? Apparently, he didn't feck man. He didn't feck man. He did. No, we are going to talk about it, obviously. Andy Turner, this Bob Villain from Glastonbury, the story is doing his publicity, the world of good, and doing my head in. Don't worry, Andy, he's bollocksed, he's done, he's finished. Explain more later. So let's get number 1 tonight. Roy, he's up and down those charts like a bride's knickers on her honeymoon. Karen, evening, Rev. Evening, Karen. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Yeah, wrong. And Fatal Racing Driver. Hello, and Alan Blindfold. Seemingly, I'll always be a number 2. You can be a Batman, Wingman, or a number 2 if you wish, Alan. So, Rebel, hang on, something about pigs. With pigs patrolling the perimeter, Les, that would keep us secure. Ooh, I say. Do we have the boys and girls in blue? The beer garden is just being tidied up a little. We're having a quick cut of the grass, and then everybody can go and sit and listen to the sermon this evening. I'm trying for the first time this evening. Evening, Karina Jane. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. And retro on his bikes. Is the record-breaking stalker still a free man, or has he been locked up again? Well, it depends which. If the day has a Y in it. Who knows, retro, who knows, but I'm just leaving him to it. He mentions me every video, seemingly, but I don't care. I just don't care. As far as I'm concerned, I'm happy to have my integrity, as you do yours, Retro. We know that he's a pathological liar. He's a self-confessed pathological liar, and everything that he says is a lie. And how can I say that? Because I know that he's changing the date from, last time I spoke to him, that's him to me, was when I was 20, and then it's last time I spoke to him, I was 19, and now seemingly he worked for BBC Radio Nottingham when he was 18, had away and shite. So he's a self-confessed liar. 2 court cases, 2 high court cases, and he admitted in both of those court cases where he was being done for defamation that he lied. So he's a self-confessed liar in a court of law twice. That's a course of conduct. So you can call him a liar. He's got nothing he can do about it. He's also a convicted stalker. Convicted stalker. Convicted stalker. Convicted stalker. Convicted stalker. Convicted stalker. Because what he's trying to do is he's trying to control the narrative by changing it to convicted talker. Very clever. But you're not, mate. 5.5 years, convicted stalker. You're getting that for the rest of your life. And I can say that because I have integrity. He doesn't. None whatsoever. Because he's a self-confessed liar in 2 separate courts of law. I mean, Jesus. Stuart, I haven't watched any of his recent videos. Last one I watched was the Lucy Connolly video. Oh, yeah, jumping on bandwagons as well. Aligning yourself with somebody that he shouldn't be aligning himself with. Like Tommy and Lucy Connolly and now Lucy Letby. He wouldn't have a clue about the case of Lucy Letby because he was inside starting a 5.5-year jail sentence. And seemingly somebody told me that he said he's finished his time. Done his time, I think. No, he hasn't done his time. He has been let out on licence. He's still got 3 years to do. And if he gobs up that licence and breaches the licence conditions, off he goes back to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200 quid. And you're going back to jail. So he needs to be very careful. I have said previously, many times, somebody needs to get their arm around him and save him from himself. That's all. Because he needs saving from himself. He can't even remember the last time he spoke to me. I do know because I've got the proof. So if ever I need the proof to tell you that he's a liar, I will produce that proof because I have the corroborative evidence. Like staying overnight in his flat in Canary Wharf in 2003. I was at LBC at the time and I started back there in 2002. Yeah, before I went to the BBC. Yeah. Went to the BBC 2004, so it would have been, around about 2000, end of 2003, beginning of 2004. So I stayed at his flat in Canary Wharf. He actually cooked me dinner, and it was a roast dinner, because I love a roast dinner. So, last time he spoke to me, he says, the year 2000. When he was 20, and then 1999 when he was 19. But that's not... We used to speak 3 or 4 or 5 times a day on the telephone. He used to keep me up with all the gossip at Century 106, and then I used to be on his Capital AM show doing Father Christmas and other stuff. And he's like, no, I've not spoken to him since the year 2000. Lie. 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 The only thing that comes out of that man's gob, in my view, are lies. So I don't believe a word he says, because I can prove to you time after time after time after time. And I've got the emails. I've got corroborative evidence that would stand up in a court of law. That's why I'm confident in my integrity, and that's why I can say he's a liar. Pathological liar, as proven in 2 separate court cases for defamation at the High Court. Les Griffiths, a serious observation about the Ginger Prowler. His incessant homosexual innuendo is worrying. He came out at the court case. He came out. So this internalized homophobia, the judge actually mentioned it in his summing up. And he came out as one of the alphabet people to try and, somebody feels sorry for him and try and get a lesser sentence. Wonder what his family made of that then, living at home with his mummy and daddy. Burlington Bertie, it's called breaking it gently to his supporters. He hasn't broken it yet. Well, maybe an half. He reminded me of a sweaty Larry Grayson. Who shut that door? Paulie Galtieri, Les, he said he never came out or is part of the LGBTQ community. Yeah, he's one of those letters. He did at the trial. It's written down in the trial. So it must be true. The stalker can't remember all the lies he told before being locked up, and he can't remember all the lies he's telling now. One day, he seemingly hasn't spoken to me since he was 20. That'll have been 2000, because he was born in 1980. And then the day after, he says he hasn't spoken to me since he was 19. That'll have been 1999, because he was born in 1980. The boy is under a lot of pressure. And I've said previously, he needs to take his time when he comes out, on license, because he will start to make mistakes and will end up back in jail. Because that internal switch he's got, the rage he's got internally, and the trauma that he's had from being inside still hasn't been let out. It hasn't been dealt with yet. Yeah, exactly. And wasn't it? Hang on, let me have a think. So 2004, I started at BBC Radio Cleveland, and in 2004, the convicted stalker helped me move house. I've said to you, I had this massive wrought iron bed, massive. It needed its own postcode. And how we humped it down these stairs. So it was quite a big house. It was a 5-bedroom house with various bathrooms and stuff. And we had to get it out of the master bedroom, down some stairs that doubled back on themselves, and then out of the door, which was quite a tight turn, into a massive van. God, it took us forever. So I've got lots of stories and lots of corroboration. But all you'll get is, trust me, because I'm telling you the truth. As in the convicted stalker. Would you trust a convict? Oh, exploring Christianity. Well, I never. Well, I've been mentioned in the best of books, John Myers' autobiography. But you see, the difficulty is, somebody emailed me and said that the ISBN number, that's the unique book number that's on that book, isn't actually an ISBN number. Don't know what it is. But seemingly the people that give out the ISBN numbers so that they're all logged haven't got the ISBN number logged. Wonder what that is. Good on him. Because if he denigrates my reputation, then you know where he's going, don't you? Jeremy Vine won. DC Janet Percival won. And if he's stupid enough to have a go at people, then, and if his timing's wrong, I'm just going to out him. So I have a right of reply. Every time he takes the piss, I've got a right of reply. So it's up to him. We can keep going, because I've got loads of stories. Loads of stories. Hey, Alex. Yeah, especially the Grey Goose and Caviar story from Vegas. Remember that one, Alex? Oh, he took a fancy to you, didn't he? Right, I think we need to get into some proper news and proper stuff. We've had a bit of a day today. We've had a difficult and challenging day today. I have to say, I don't normally bring such personal news to the body of the Kirk, but earlier today, in the beautiful sunshine in the cucumber patch, I had to go and see Sister Rachel. Now, Sister Rachel, I've never brought her to the Body of the Kirk news before, but it's such a sad day in the Body of the Kirk today. Sister Rachel from the Cucumber Patch, she came to me and she said, Reverend, I'm having a real tough time of things at the moment. I said, I'm sorry to hear that, Sister Rachel. Why is that? She said, well, I'm a bit worn out by tending the cucumber patch. I said, right. You are quite tearful, Sister Rachel. Is there anything that I can do for you? I have to bring the news. We had a confessional. She confessed all. I gave her 3 Hail Marys and a Mars bar. We've had to work on a statement. Now, in the media, when they say that it's a joint statement, it means they've been sacked. But genuinely, Sister Rachel has, we've been working on a joint statement today after her confessional, which took quite a while, and a couple of boxes of Kleenex. For me, not for her. I was just upset. I was just upset. I was having to dab my eyes. All 3 of them. So we've worked on a statement, and Sister Rachel is going to leave the Body of the Kirk. She's decided that Friday would be a good day, so she's going to leave the Body of the Kirk Friday afternoon. She's tendered the cucumber patch for the very last time today, during the confessional. And I really shouldn't, bring this detail to the Body of the Kirk, to the congregation, because you might end up spilling your altar wine in your Battenberg cake. But she said she's had enough of the cardinal. And I said, well, he's still in Italy. What? You can tell me now. You can be honest with me. There's only me, you, and God listening. Brian Clough, obviously. And she said, well, I don't like the cardinal's penchant for bum fun and cocaine-fueled parties with rent boys. And I was taken aback. I was aghast. I said, the cardinal? Really? He's only just been out there electing a new pope. And she said, well, I know, Your Eminence, but I just need to be honest with you. I just need to get away. The pressure is too much. I've just had enough. And she was teary all day, as I could see. At least I think that's what was rolling down her cheeks. Sister Rachel is leaving Friday afternoon. So watch out for the statement. Watch out for the... Just ask yourself, was she sacked or was she pushed? Or did she walk or was she pushed? Was she sacked or did she resign? Well, 3 Hail Marys and a Mars bar. Or was it a Snickers bar? Because it did make a hell of a mess. Still had a vein in it. Couldn't see me lips move. And I understand that Rachel Reeves from accounts has not been very happy either. It must be a terrible day for Rachels in the world today. But I think she, to be fair, she's done the female populace down. She's let women down, man. I mean, look at all that furore. I'm Rachel from accounts. Look, I'm the first female chancellor. Just get rid of all that shite off the walls. It's number 11. It's my house now. My house. I'm in charge. I'm boss bitch. I'm in charge. Get rid of all those bloody things. And anyway, I'm the first female chancellor. And then sat there in the chamber, sobbing. She's let women down today, massively. But I just want to ask a question. I don't know whether you know this. Was it the World Economic Forum? Have they sacked her? Because look, the World Economic Forum's in charge. Or was it Larry Fink? Did he think? So the WEF, have they sacked her? Can't, she's sackless. Oh, it's so good to be back on the hibiscus. So the sermon this evening, we're going to talk bowels. We're going to talk yellow bowels. You can get a cream for it, don't worry. We'll talk about Bob Dylan. The furore trundles on, and it's bloody funny. We're going to talk about the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of the Tibetans. Taking us back to, remember The Champions, that TV series? Alexander Bastido. Got me through puberty, that one. So the Dalai Lama, he's Rama Lama Ding Dong. He's been out today, not out, just out, mind you. Hands up those in the body of the Kirk that can remember the Dalai Lama sucking some young kid's tongue. Oh, you mucky perverted bastard. Yeah, I didn't forget that, did you? Oh yeah, sucking on some 8-year-old's tongue. How does that work then? He turns 90 this week, seemingly. We're going to talk about Diddy. 5 counts today. The verdicts are out. He's been found not guilty in 3, guilty in 2. Oh, fan my brow. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Jack the Flipper. Genuinely, headline of the day, Jack the Flipper. We'll talk about the Lucy Letby twist, that pride pedo. Do you know how, the news cycle is so quick that the guy that came up with the idea of pride, he's been found guilty, raping a young boy. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Voyager 2. Why is that, Adrian? What the bloody hell's going on? Are we interplanetary? Oh, yeah, we're interplanetary craft, said the Carpenters. We'll talk Israel and Iran because you thought war was over. Give peace a chance. Well, no, war's still on. It's not, well, it is kind of Georgia, but it's a bit of war, and they're going nuclear. Tell you about that tonight. And Trump v. Musk, they're still at it like a couple of 12-year-olds. So welcome to the Body of the Kirk. It is the Theatre of the Mind, number 191. I say. Let's get to the bottom of this. And Spooky the Shiny Cat. Evening all. Late again. Typical. To Exploring Christianity. We always pop cherries here for first timers. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. And Soul Rebel, to be fair, Gene Morton from what we think Tinge and Tucker would have sufficient at that age. I'm not quite sure whether that's code or Swahili. Soul Rebel. And Les Griffiths. Just tell it like it is, Les. And Retro on his bikes. What is the story about the Voyager spacecraft? Stay with me, Retro. Stay with me. And Roy Gordon, can we have a party at 200, Adrian? I was thinking that today, Roy, because we're going to get to 200 probably a week Sunday. I'm going to do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday again next week, which is 4, which will be 195. And then we'll do another 4 to take it to 199, which is 2 weeks gone. We'll get to 199 2 weeks today. If I do 4 next week, 4 the week after, and then we'll have a hoolie for 200 lives. That's blimey. I mean, I'm sure we're getting somewhere close to 500 hours worth. Andrew James says, I watched Sun Life last night after hearing about the death of Jim. No! Jimmy, the Swaggart, I have sinned. I know what sin is. Give me your money. Jesus, where have we heard that before? Jimmy Swaggart. Hang on. So Andrew James says, I watched Sun Life last night after hearing about the death of Jimmy Swaggart. All they showed was people at a table pleading for donations with no gratitude. Donny Swaggart learned well from his dad. Oh, Jimmy was some boy. Coke and horse, wasn't it? So Jimmy Swaggart was one of those televised evangelists from the 80s. And he was, I mean, like multi, hundreds of millions going through his church. He just used to say, oh, send me your money. And the Americans would go, how much, Jimmy? How much? I'll send you a check. Check's in the post. No, I won't. Brilliant, Jackie Glasgow. But welcome to the Body of the Kirk. So Jimmy Swaggart. He was found out using the donations to the church to buy Nosebag, Charlie, Coca-Cola, tons of it, and banging hookers. And he got found out. I mean, it was a massive story in the mid to late 80s. Massive story. Because he was one of those huge evangelists with a church that was turning over hundreds of millions. So he had his private helicopter and he had all this in a massive house and he was banging hookers. He was doing all that. And then he got caught out. So what did he do? It's clever. He went on the telly. I have sinned. I have sinned. Just sending you money. I need your money. I have sinned. Give me your money. Just give me your money. I need your money. I need a second helicopter. Mind you, I need to shag more hookers and buy more nose bags. So, I feel faint. God is my witness. God is my witness. I feel faint. Give me your fucking money, man. Just give me the donations. Send them in. I've got another church to build. I've got another helicopter to buy. Do you know how much it costs to keep hookers in bloody sugar daddy houses? He's dead now. You can't libel a dead man. I can say anything I want. It was just one of those where all of America went, "Oh, he's the devil." No. I'm God's right hand man. I'm God's right hand man. Mind you, he paid other people to do that for him. That's why he got caught. So, it's just the funniest thing. Did I think that he died years ago? But you know what these godly people like, the happy clappers are like, brotherly love, to quote Kenny Everett. 5 times 5 is 25, says Stuart. It is, but if you need to be quick at arithmetic, 5 is 25, you can use 2 hands. Gets you up to 50, and in a whole lot of trouble if you're having to buy hookers to do it. Talbot Tracy was just thinking that. Oh, I say, what? Is that the fellow who told his congregation that if they saw him sinning in nightclubs, it wasn't him, but a demon impersonating him? That's the fella, Liz. That is the fella. It's just a fantastic story. It's literally, if you go and do your research, because you'll find him, it's better than a bloody comedy routine. It is just. But the Americans, they're not the brightest button on the blazer. They all think they're John Wayne. Mind you, I thought I saw John Wayne's saddlebags under Rachel Reeves' eyes at PMQs earlier. Just funny. So thank you for letting me know about that. Was it Andrew? Jimmy Slaggart once said on Sun Life, he uses donations for new transmitters as their original transmitters was in a bad state and it was held together by duct tape. And condoms, Andrew. But it's, I don't know whether you're aware of it, but it's just one of the best stories. Because I literally burst me incontinence pants thinking, this boy is some grifter. And we all know grifters. All they're after is money. Send me your money. Send me your money. Just send us the right ISBN number. What about that Copeland fella? What, as in Stuart, the drummer, with the police? At the same time that I was under Ginger Growler's saddlebags. Oh, I say, Neil. I bet that got you through the day. Got a bit of a sweat on for you. So, Simon this evening. I just want to ask the body of the Kirk, the congregation this evening, are there any Brits left in Wimbledon? Normally the first week they have a bit of daring do. They give it a good go and they're knocked out. I mean, in this heat, it must be terrible for sort of the umpires and the line judges. They must have it hard. I mean, look at the line judges. They're bent over more times than Bonnie Blue, with balls coming at them from every conceivable angle, just like Bonnie Blue. But Wimbledon, I mean, is it still a thing? Is it just hello, it's me, David. Yeah, me, David Beckham. Yeah. I've posh, crossed the legs too quick, and I've lost 2 fingers. Can't pick my nose now. He's not been in the press today. Hurrah! It's the first time since bloody January he's not been in the press. Hurrah! That's because he's not playing Wimbledon. He can't. He just sits there in a linen suit going, oh, I say, it's rather warm. Bet he swallows today, anyone? So it's all... hang on a second. I'm just going to click on this. Bonnie Blues Minge is like a plasterer's radio. Burlington Bertie. Will Holmes, no line judges this year. That's why I'm saying it, Will. I'm being facetious, man. Yeah, I'll pop your cherry for you because it's summer. Yes, Cam is through, and Rada Watcher as a Rada Kanu thingy. Have you noticed how they're trying to build this narrative that there's some love interest going on in Wimbledon, and everybody's like, look, we get enough ball action, we don't need anybody else getting any. So Wimbledon isn't real anymore. Fixed. I see you. Well, I never. Bonnie Blue puts me to shame, Tower Block Tracy. I know, you're bloody amateur. Les Griffiths, are there any men wearing lippy competing at Wimbledon? No, I think they're all up in the royal box. If you know what I mean. The old Bovril says, Reeves had more sandbags under her eyes that you could have found at the Battle of the Somme. Oh, well, maybe it might have dried her tears. Oh, bless. Oh, Rachel, what are we going to do with you? Fire! Because you've ruined the bloody country, you Roman. We are going to talk about her at a little greater length. The Eyes of Tammy Faye is a very good movie about these preachers. Rev got Jessica Chastain in it. Marvellous actress about Jim Baker and his wife, because they were another couple. I don't think they got caught out, banging hookers or even doing Charlie. I think that they may have led a very opulent, luxurious lifestyle that they didn't really have the money for other than donations. Tom Harney's Raducanu will probably have an old injury flare up tomorrow and have to retire. Yeah, but they're trying to say, she's having a little dalliance with a male tennis player. Well, you know what that says to me, knowing the media the way that I do, like when heterosexual TV presenters had dalliances with lap dancers. We knew straight away that they were on a different bus. They just weren't shagging lap dancers. They were having bum fun. And now I can't name any names. Simon Cowell. What? I didn't hear anything. You couldn't see my lips move. Tammy Baker, yeah, she got killed in a plane crash. Whoa, that's a bit convenient. Like a sack of spuds, Jamie F. She's taking ferry up the Aras, are you saying? That's what I'm saying, Terry. Phil Sumner. Adrian, one of my favourite documentaries, completely true to fact based. It's on Prime, called The Forecaster. A man locked up for years for no crime. Open your eyes to how the world is run. Of course, I've mentioned quite a few times, but thank you for that, Phil. I will. It's what's it called? The Forecaster. Ooh, I'll have a look at that. Is it on Netflix or is it on one of the other streamers? I do say that the people that are running the world, like the Rothschilds, they're not answerable to anyone. Their money is off the charts. They've got trillions and trillions and trillions in liquidity, not just in gold and stuff, in liquidity. And there are people at the top of society that just do what they want. They're not answerable to laws because they just buy people off. I'm not going to say who. Terry Wookfit. Oh, I say, looks like I'm getting a polish soon then. Spit on that fang. Tattoo lip liner too. Oh, that's rock and roll, baby. Des Ashton, did anyone ever find the golden rivet? Rachel was teabagged. You can see them under her eyes. That's comment of the night. Absolutely comment of the night, you utter wrong'un. Get off the... yes, exactly. Quite. We'll get on to stuff. So let's get on to Bob Vylan, the moron from Glastonbury. Now, there's hang on, I was going to tell you about... Yes, I'll tell you about the lap dancers. So that's how they cover it up. They give you one thing. So Raducanu could be true, might not be true, but her having a little dalliance with a male tennis player, a doubles partner. Oh, I say, really? Didn't they say that about Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King? Bob Vylan. So it all kicked off on Sunday morning, and it's only Wednesday. This is from Glasgow at the weekend, which I think the general consensus is that it was shite, apart from Chic and a little bit of Rod Stewart, maybe. But the Bob Villain thing, it's like a play on Bob Dylan, evidently. So he's like, deaf to the IDF, deaf to the IDF, as in death. Deaf to the IDF, deaf to the IDF. And you're not getting your country back. Well, isn't there an irony? Because you're not getting your career back, mate. So the chief rabbi is a bit brassed off today. He said it's a national shame. Anti-Semites. So Bob Villain, tour's cancelled, visa's cancelled, and he's like, you're not getting your country back. Who said that? Oh, it's all gone quiet over there. Oh, it's all gone quiet over there. Oh, it's all gone quiet. All gone quiet. All gone quiet over there. Fuck off. You're not getting your country back. We are, but you're not getting your career back. So it looks like it's, as we've discussed virtually every evening since Sunday, it is the place of artists to be artists. As in, if they're drunk, they're piss artists, but they're artists of kind. But it is a moral question of the age. What is free speech and what can be allowed? But it's only this current government that's queered the free speech pitch, because they jailed Lucy Connolly for a tweet. Now, all right, it wasn't a great idea. The content wasn't great, but for her to do 31 months. So what they're going to have to do is Bob Villain, because there was incitement there, death to the IDF. There was incitement there. It was also racist. So it looks like, as much as they are pedaling furiously backwards, look at I'm on Glassdoor. Well, he must have been on something, probably strong coffee. But if whatever he was on, strong coffee or not, well, responsibility. And with great power comes great responsibility. But power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when you're on the stage, there's only two of you. They're not exactly soft sell, are they? Two of them, or the Righteous Brothers, they're on stage, and he's virtue signalling to the crowd. Well, the crowd, as in me and you, the people watching at home, are virtue signalling back. Your career's over, mate. Shove it up your arse. We're not interested. And they're putting statements out, and now they're trying to nail Tim Diddy at the BBC, and they want him sacked. And Glasto, very cleverly, are showing you clean-up pictures in the newspapers after the weekend, which, is an unspoken, we're cleaning all the mess up. So Glasto's not going to get it in the neck, and they're because of the fallow fields, they want to leave them alone, so they don't want to damage the fields and the farm and stuff. So there's no Glastonbury next year, which is a bit convenient for them. But the story's done. They're trying to keep it. They're trying to keep it going in the mainstream media, but it's done. I want to tell you a little story that you may have missed today. Having lived in Wales for a couple of years whilst doing real radio in Cardiff, or just outside, was it Llantrysant, just outside of Cardiff? Two L's in Welsh is like, and two D's is like the Heddlu. That's the police in Welsh. But it's two D's, so it's the Heddlu, not the Headlu. And Llantrysant has two L's at the beginning. I do hope there's some Welsh speakers in the body of the Kirk this evening, because I can do a little Welsh if needed. Pwy yw'ch tad nawr te? And they have Swansea Jack. I love the story of Swansea Jack. It's very similar to is it Graveyard Bobby in Edinburgh? The little dog whose owner died and it wouldn't leave its owner's grave, and everybody, and it's not Graveyard Bobby. It's is it Friars Kirk Bobby? Man, come on, Adrian. It's Greyfriars Bobby in Edinburgh. It's a beautiful story. So there's a similar story with Swansea Jack, little doggy that had Derring Do, and everybody loves, especially Swansea. It's kind of their emblem, Swansea Jack, the little dog. But now the Welsh can adopt Jack the Flipper. What am I talking about? So there's this Welsh dolphin in Cardigan Bay. That's just above Trouser Bay and just above Botherboot Bay. So the Cardigan Bay on top of the Polo Shirt Bay is, it got a bit pissed off. I don't know whether they put something in the water, but it killed another dolphin. Like proper went in, ripped this other dolphin to bits. I mean, maybe it was on a bad come down, or maybe it had been out on the lash in Swansea. Not sure. Cardigan Bay is quite away from Swansea, I know, but I'm trying to keep it south. And then Jack the Flipper went and killed a shark just for shits and giggles, just for fun. Decided to, I've killed a dolphin, that's too easy. Right, what's next? Should I kill it? I'll kill a shark. So Jack the Flipper come down from the valleys and killed a shark, killed a dolphin, and is now known as Jack the Flipper. So if you ever go to Wales, you can see Swansea Jack. They have monuments outside the train station. Pretty shitty city. And Twin Town. What a film. What a film. But Jack the Flipper, the Welsh murdering dolphin. What a story that is. Hang on. Andrew James says, I wonder if that was the same tour where a young woman got burnt and scared because somebody let off a distress flare in a closed venue. Rings a bell, Andrew, but I can't remember the story. Rev, have you seen the film Hachi, Dog's Tale? No. Bad Wolf Project, in a word. Burlington Birdie. Swansea Jack supposedly rescued 27 people from the docks. I know. It's a bit like Hartlepool, hanging the monkey. They thought it was a French spy. There's loads of animal stories around the coast of this sceptred isle, because that's what we do. But I love the Swansea Jack story. Tom Harney's last time I was in Cardiff to see Bob Dylan, and great he was too. The original Hachiko waited daily at Shibuya Station in Tokyo from 1925 till his death in 1935. God, were the trains that slow in Tokyo? No way, Neil, you're wrong. Isn't Cardiff's twin town Chernobyl? Well, after the reactor melted, isn't it not more like Chernobyl fallout? It's warm tonight, that's for sure. Can I ask a favour? We've got almost close to 250 people in the body of the Kirk this evening. Can you smash the likes? Because I would like to get to 200 before I finish this evening's live, if that's possible. So if you're feeling so inclined, smash the likes while we're in the body of the Kirk. Stuart says, probably was Andrew. He completely ruined it for her, but just imagining the beer being thrown at him and then getting mooned at was the funniest story I've been told so far. What? Hang on. There's more interesting conversations going on in the comments on here. Nicholas, wished, lads, had you wished, had you gobs, and I'll tell you all an awful story. Wished, lads, had you gobs, and I'll tell you about the worm, Lambton Worm. I've seen the film. Or was that a Madonna concert? Thank you, Roy. Tablock Tracy said, yes, smash the likes, and me back doors if you feel so inclined. You've got to touch your toes first, TBT. Les Griffiths, last time I was in Wales, there were violent thunderstorms. Same when I did the Three Peaks. Went to Spain, hailstorm. I'm a feckin' jinx. Right, wherever Les is going on holiday this year, we're all not going there because he's a jinx. It'll hailstone. The Lambton Worm. So, the reason why I'm getting betwixt and between, so to speak, is because I'm trying to go paperless tonight. I'm trying to flip-flop, and not that kind of flip-flop, but I'm trying to go between stories on my screen. So let's talk about Lucy Letby, because we need to keep an eye on. It's very easy to say, oh, the Lucy Letby story, and then reference it when people don't actually do the research. So just as a little refresher this evening, because I do believe that we have two forces here at play. We have the immovable object against the irresistible force. Now, I have to be very careful about what I say here. I'm not going to get into three bosses that have been arrested at the hospital where Lucy worked, because it's sub judice. They've been arrested and charged. Well, no, they've been arrested. I don't know whether they've been charged, but even at the point of arrest, it's best to err on the side of caution. And maybe that's why they've allowed that bit of information to come out to the mainstream media, because once the mainstream media will back off once they know that someone's been arrested in a case. But technically, it's only under the judge once they've been charged with something. Now, there is speculation in the press today that this new twist, this new development, could be used against Lucy Letby for more charges. And I thought, hang on a second. My intuition's pinging here, and my knowledge of the media going back 40 years is, hang on a second, have we got a rabbit away here? So, to remind you and to refresh you, Lucy Letby is guilty of murdering 7 babies. She is guilty of attempted murder of another 7. So 7 guilties, murdering 7 babies, and attempted murder of 7 others. She's serving 15 whole life sentences, so she won't get out. If that conviction is safe, why are they making this tacit threat that this new case could be used against Lucy Letby for more charges? Because she's not getting out in this lifetime. She's 15 whole life sentences. She's going to die in jail if this is a safe conviction. Now, me being a cynical old tart just looks at this and goes, hang on a second, there's something going on here. Now, there is something that I cannot, under any circumstance, bring to these lives for the moment. There are other journalists that are convinced that Lucy Letby is innocent. Nadine Dorries in the Mail has been banging on for months and months and months about how she believes that Lucy Letby is innocent. There is a movement within the mainstream media that they believe that Lucy is innocent. But speculation, and this is in more than one newspaper this morning, I think I read it in 3, that this new development, and I'm not going to go into that detail at all, I've got to allow the process of due law to take place. But why would they say, and I quote, speculation that this, quote, this could be used against her, Lucy Letby, for more charges? That's almost like being warned off. Why would they warn her off, or her team, or anybody that sees this as a cause célèbre? Cause célèbre. Why would they do that? I think, again, because of sub judice, I can't discuss with you this new development because it's sub judice. And if any YouTubers think that they can get away with it, sub judice just means that it's under a judge. It's Latin for under a judge. But it means that if you start talking about stuff in certain ways, and I'll remember the Harold Shipman case, somebody on Rock FM, who I know and worked with, just went, he's as guilty as sin. He's as guilty as hell. The judge, it must have got back to the judge. The judge rang the radio station and said, this presenter that said this, can I have a copy of the tape of the programme, please, so we can corroborate it. And I want that presenter in my court in the morning, 10 a.m. And he was pulled in front of the beak, and the judge said to him, you are within a cat's whisker of being sent to jail, because sub judice carries jail time. So a lot of people thinking that they can get away with it and giving an opinion on something. I mean, in the end, Harold Shipman died. We don't know whether he was guilty. He died. He killed himself. So even though he's used as a euphemism in certain ways, that presenter nearly got jail time from the judge because the judge was so angry. So we'll leave that to one side, but I want you just to focus on the fact that Lucy, guilty of murdering 7 babies, guilty of attempt murder of 7 other babies, and she's serving 15 whole life sentences. So for the moment, if it's a safe conviction, she's never getting out of jail. So why would there be a real veiled threat about this could be used against her for more charges? It's something to keep an eye on, because I think there's a rabbit away somewhere, somehow, some way. And me, do I believe that Lucy Letby is innocent? I wouldn't say that I believe her to be innocent, but I'm really unsure about the convictions because of what I know. And this came from within the NHS, somebody I know who told me this, and I said to them, well, that makes sense. And when I can, I'll tell you. And up to now, I can't. So Lucy Letby, keep an eye on that case. The about it, but I have the newspapers from the time going, and she hasn't been in jail that long. But it's the Lucy Letby case takes another twist, another turn, another development. Let's see where it goes and how it goes and what exactly happens. Do you know? Isn't that weird? Yeah, I'm watching. Let me just give it a second to come back. I'm watching the picture that you're watching, and it was pixelating, so the sound was dropping out. And maybe Phil Summers says, fantastic show again, Adrian. Always fascinating, your insight into the world and how it works. I bloody love it. Cheers, Phil. We appreciate that. I'm pixelating. Yes, so I hopefully I'm not now. Let me just get back to the bottom of the what Soul Rebel said. Yeah, you're crackly too. Well, I checked this afternoon to make sure that there was no Bluetooth on it, and gremlins running around. So earlier today, the feed to this dropped out 3 times before we got anywhere near the live and before you came in at the body of the Kirk. So it dropped out 3 times. I'm just hoping that Tablock Tracy, you mucky tart. No, I don't look sexy when I'm pixelated. That's normally 3 G&Ts, and then I'm definitely pixelated. Thank you to everyone. Shipman delivered a friend of mine. He was a well-loved doctor in Todmorden. I know, Lauren, I know. And I don't think, was he tried and then not sentenced, but he hung himself in his cell before they had chance, didn't they, to sentence him or have a full trial. Oh, Terry Walkfit man, will you stop it? I'm trying to concentrate and deliver a good presentation, and then you just put Emma Peel in leather in my head. Yeah, utter wrong. Oh, he'd been sentenced. So it must have been, well, hang on a second. If he'd been sentenced and he killed himself in jail, surely he was on suicide watch, because every single prisoner that goes into that goes into prison, they're automatically put on suicide watch. It's not one of those, oh, they're going to kill themselves. It's just automatic. A bit like when people come out of jail, they're given some standard license terms that they have to adhere to. One of them, some of them, is you don't criticise the MOJ, you don't criticise HMP. So I don't think so, Roy. I think it must have been in sufficient time for them to go, no, he's fine. But Les Griffith says, patients loved him, staff hated him. Mark Bryden. Les Griffith, Peggy, hang on, you've got me bloody, I can't even speak now. And I've got the hiccups. Hang on. Do you know? Ray Norton, you're utter wrong'un. Susan Boyle in Lycra. Oh, if only I could tell you my Susan Boyle stories. He'd been in jail nearly 4 years before he offed himself, before he Epsteined himself, evidently. The one I was laughing at was Les Griffith saying Peggy Mount in Lycra. Yeah, mucky tart, Les. Yes, Bella Emberg, Blunder Woman. What was I going to do? I was going to, that's what I've not done. Stand by, caller. I'm just having a look at this because I had some questions left from last night that I wanted to ask you. obviously I put them in a safe place, and the safe place is so safe I can't remember where it is. Did you know in the NHS, just as a little aside, I think there must be something in the water. Do you know that the NHS, it's the right colour, it's a light blue and white, because do you know that they prescribed a record number of pumps and Viagra last year? Seemingly, the NHS is making it hard for some. They spunked £20 million on helping carpenters handle their wood. 24,000 foot pumps, or 6-inch pumps, were given out freebie by the NHS. 4.7 million doses of Viagra, or is it Cialis? I think that's how you pronounce it. Because like Dame Emma Thompson was out saying, morning glory, Stuart. Dame Emma Thompson was out yesterday suggesting that sex should be prescribed on the NHS. I mean, fair dues to Emma Thompson. All those nurses, they're already run ragged and then having to supply free sex on the NHS. Mind you, can you imagine the difference between NHS and private? NHS, 30 seconds, there you go. Clean yourself up. Private, my lord, there'd be half a dozen nurses looking after your every whim. But I was just thinking of a question before we get on to some of the other serious subjects, obviously. I'm going to ask you a question. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Just a quickie. Nora Batty in stockings and suspenders. Terry, you're making me feel violently ill. Man, you're wrong. Should sex work be completely legalised and free? If you think about it, there's like OnlyFans now. So a load of models that might have done have gone over to... Paul Mabley says he's going booper. You've literally thrown me off there. Yes, so some models are doing OnlyFans and making a fortune, evidently. And because I was thinking back to, Jimmy Savile and the Yorkshire Ripper, to make it completely safe, should we just put it on the NHS, legalise it, and free? Because let's face it, if these politicians can skim off billions and billions and billions off the top, well, instead of giving it to Ukraine, let's give it to everybody else in this country. So if you need any, there's Tony's radio jingles. Apologies for the nostalgia fest, but were you surprised when you had the biggest audience figures in the UK for a phone-in on Century in the late 90s, in the East Midlands, and then nationally? No, it didn't surprise me, Tony. Joking. Do you know, I think I'll get back to the free sex from the NHS in a second. I'm just going to try something because my screen is like really weird. It was saying there's only 2 people waiting. That's better. That's better. Control-Alt-Delete 3. Is that 3? Some? Napoleon Bonaparte 2. Rich 69. I was waiting for the gag, Rich. 96 says Tom Harney. Need your glasses. Should have gone to Specsavers. Queer Starmlin in Sussies and Hills. Stop that, Ian. Dominic Beresford. 2. If a job's worth doing, it's worth getting paid for. Correct and agreed. But it was just, the NHS, they're giving away all this. The NHS is giving away as much Viagra as Muhammad Al-Fayed did in the back of the 90s. Oh, there you go. Wiggy videos. How about pay-per-view or pay-per-screw? But the NHS are spending like 4.7 million doses of Viagra or Cialis. They're not getting them cheap. So rather than get it through the NHS, just give it away free. Can you imagine the parties with the nurses and the doctors? I want to tell you something about Oprah Winfrey, because you won't pick this up anywhere else. Because you know how Oprah is seen to be butterwood and melt in the mouth. And so, by the way, everybody thinks no. So Oprah, Harpo, she's a billionaire-ess. But she's gone all quiet and shy because she has a charity. And the charity is a Coats for Kids charity. And you know, a few months ago, when Doge was going through the was going through all of the money that the government was spending and was looking at who was spending what and where, and then Doge looked at the United States Agency for International Development, which was laundering billions and billions and billions of taxpayers' dollars, American taxpayers' dollars. Well, seemingly Oprah and her Coats for Kids charity received $300 million of United States Agency for International Development money. And they've only given out 130 coats. No the bloody wonder the Democrats are a bit upset, because that United States Agency for International Development was an absolute brilliant screw. You could make millions and millions and millions. And one of Oprah's charities, her Coats for Kids charity, was given $300 million worth of money via the United States Agency for International Development, and gave away 130 coats. Wonder where that money went then, Oprah. Get a comment? Come on the channel anytime you want. I don't mind. Napoleon Bonaparte says she owns half of Maui and now co-owns half of the town that had the fires 2 years ago. Just saying. Yeah, similarly to BlackRock, that they were going around California. Oh, have you lost your house? Oh, it's burnt down. Oh, shame about that. Can we make you an offer for it? BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard are going to buy up the housing stock worldwide, certainly in the West, so that unless you play ball with them and or the government and or the powers that be, or the powerful paedophiles at the top, you won't get a house to live in, and you won't get anything from the government. So all you've got to do is just keep your mouth shut, do as you're told, own nothing, and you'll be happy. And they'll own all the housing stock, which they'll never get back. Long-term plan. White Rabbit. Adrian, just finished yesterday's live. Who do you think Prince Harry's dad is? Sorry if you've already covered this. 18th Earl of Pembroke. Just Google him. 18th Earl of Pembroke. 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 And wow, Bad Wolf Project says those coats she gave away were donated by J.C. Penney and Bloomingdale's. So not only did she get 300 million from United States Agency for International Development, she didn't even buy the bloody coats. She got them. They were donated by J.C. Penney and Bloomingdale's. Nice grift if you can get it, man. Harpo Winfrey. I know, Reg. Big shopping mall in York called Vanguard. I'm not sure it's the same one, but could be. Could be. They've got trillions and trillions and trillions in assets, and they all own each other. So it's not like three standalone companies. They all own each other. State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock. BlackRock has now at least $11 trillion worth of assets. $11 trillion worth. Lionel Leighton, unrehearsed. Welcome, young sir. Welcome. Well, I'm presuming because you call Lionel. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Doesn't mind if you're late. I see you. Says I'm in the wrong job. And Andrew James says all the new bills are going to the Brits. BlackRock and Vanguard are supporting migrants fresh off the dinghy. I know, because there's so much money in it. So let's get on to Diddy in a second, because this is really serious. Really, really serious and very dark and very deep. So we've talked about Lucy Letby. Keep your eyes open for what's going on with Lucy and possibly an unsafe verdict and what's going on. So this afternoon, I want to talk about not only the Diddy verdicts and the Diddy trial and Diddy in Hollywood and Diddy in the music industry. I want to talk about the BBC's coverage of it, because it was just downright weird. Now, I've said to you before, the BBC has had a whole bunch of wrong-uns go through its portals. I mean, I know I worked with the BBC presenter, but I worked with him in commercial radio, and then he went to the BBC in the northeast, and then he went to the BBC on the south coast, and he got done for kiddie fiddling. And we know Savile raped an 8-year-old on BBC property. That came out in an inquiry that was overseen by a KC. So the BBC, it's honeypot for the wrong-uns. And it's been going on for 50, 60, 70 years. But the Diddy verdicts were coming out today, and they're not... You can tell the difference between a great journo and a very average journo, because the people that earn their money and earn real good money are the ones that you throw a curveball at them, they can handle it. That's when they really get their money, when either something goes wrong in the studio, like a radio presenter. They never earn their money when it's all going right. They never earn their money when it's all going smooth. Yes, they get paid, but they earn their money when a record deck goes down or the phone lines don't work and you can't get any phones in. As I've told you the story about Mike Elliott before, Mike the Mouth in the Northeast. Phone lines go down within the first 5 minutes of his phone in. So no phone lines, no phone calls, no phone in. And the next 3 hours, he did live stand-up off the top of his head. So the good presenters earn their corn when it goes wrong. And I was watching this. There was a digital team in the court with Diddy, and they were feeding the journos, doing live pieces to camera outside of the court. And the two presenters were, I mean, not of a good enough standard, if I may be so bold. So the Diddy verdicts were coming through. So the RICO charge, that was the big one, the racketeering. He was found not guilty of racketeering. That's conspiracy for sex trafficking. His ex-girlfriend, Jane Doe, that was the name that was used in court. So she was known as Jane in the court case. They never gave her real name out. So the RICO charge, not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, his ex-girlfriend Jane. He was guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution with Cassie Ventura. 3 not guilty verdicts. So it's counts 1 to 5. 5 counts. Counts 1, 2, and 4 were not guilties, and there was 2 guilty verdicts. Counts 3 and 5. But this is what I mean by about it being a bit weird. So the BBC evidently is woke. It's left wing. And this left-wing bias, it keeps banging on about it being whatever the left-wing bias is, that's the way that it'll go. It'll take the left-wing bias. So it loves the Labour Party. It loves certain Labour politicians. The BBC is an amorphous mass. And it didn't want to come out of Europe, so Brexit, its news channels never stopped bellyaching about Brexit for months and months and months and months after the vote. Never stopped bellyaching. So today, Diddy has got all this blackmail stuff on other powerful people. So you've got Epstein and Diddy and others who are honey trap monsters, and they record it all so that they can say to someone, marvelous video I've got of you shagging that child. So you can just control the politicians, you control the people from commerce and business, and that's what they do. That's how they're running the world. They get blackmail on you, and then they put you in power. As I've said to you before, what have they got on 2-tier Kia, free gear Kia, backdoor Kia Starmer? Backdoor because he took us into Europe via the back door, as ever. I've asked you the question loads of times. I do know the answer, but I do not want my brake pipes cut. No, I'm not fucking about. I'm being serious with you. There are things in this life you simply cannot speak. Will it ever come out? No. I've told you before, Prince Harry was at Diddy parties, at freak-offs, and I told you, if it comes out, if the full story comes out about Prince Harry, he will make Andrew look like a fucking amateur. And no, I can't tell you how I know, but I do. And my source is impeccable. Royal Protection Squad. Because I have worked with them in the past. And again, I'm not going to tell you. So I was watching this Diddy thing today, knowing that Epstein unalived himself. For some unknown reason, everybody's forgotten that Diddy, when it was all kicking off and the feds were around his house trying to find him, he jumped on his jet and buggered off to the Bahamas. Can you not remember that? He buggered off to the Bahamas and he was telling people to get rid of stuff, and he was obviously, he knew he was going to go to jail and didn't know what to do. He went to the Bahamas. Everybody's forgetting that. So the prosecution and the defense are bartering as to whether he's a flight risk. Flight risk? He went to the Bahamas the first time. What's he going to do? And they're saying, oh, he's got this jet and he could go to his, he's got his personal jet and he could go to his home in Florida, or he could go to his home in LA, or he's a billionaire and he's got this and he's got that. And the judge will come back whenever and decide on his sentence. But they were trying to get him out of jail on bail. And the word was no. But all the way through this reportage by the BBC, they were talking about victory. And they were saying, and I quote, that this is victory for the Sean Combs team. And I thought, he's looking at 20 years in Chogi, and they see that as victory. And they said, not guilty of racketeering, not guilty of this, not guilty of this, but guilty on the 2 lesser counts, as if that makes it okay. And I was listening to these inept journos pumping out propaganda. And I thought, why are you doing this? Why are you delivering this in a certain way? It's victory for the Sean Combs team, not the Diddy team, the Sean Combs team. And you've got to be very careful when you're listening to what reporters are doing. Their language is very specific. If they're using Diddy, it's kind of showbiz, and they reckon that he was a bit of a powerful mogul, not as powerful as the head of Arista Records. What do they call him? Davies. There are some very, very, very dark and what can I say? The music industry is run by gangsters. It's as simple as that. It's run by gangsters. So if you ever see a film about Led Zeppelin and Peter Grant, I'm sure it was Peter Grant, yeah, who was Led Zeppelin's manager. Interesting. So Peter Grant was the manager of Led Zeppelin and was a mountain of a man. And he just turned up for negotiation. This is what you're going to pay the band. Well, no, this is what you're going to pay the band. And the promoter, in the end, didn't argue because he was a big boy. And if you want, how can I do? No, I can't because they're still alive. So let's just say there are record labels that are run by organised crime gangs. Whether it be, stuff in this country, and I'll just use that in the loosest of terms, or whether it's Frank Sinatra and the Italians and the Mafia with Warner Brothers and Reprise Records. Back in the day, the music industry is run by gangsters. So why the BBC was reporting on this being as a victory for the Sean Combs team. 5 counts, he was guilty on 2. But then their narrative was, yes, guilty of 2 lesser counts. Really? So it's the way that they were reporting it. It took my breath away. I couldn't work out why they were doing that, because it's a man in court being tried for like really bad crimes. And they were reporting it as if it was a nothing and he was going to get off with it and everything was going to be fine. So but it was very unusual. Very, very unusual reporting, and the journalists were stuttering and weren't reporting it well. It wasn't in flow. So let's get on to PMQs today, and teary Rachel from accounts. And I don't know whether she was looking for sympathy. I can tell her it's in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. But that odious man. Let me tell you what they said in the Mail about him today. And it was Sarah Vine. Now she's married Michael Gove at one point, so her judgment has to be suspect. In my view, anybody that marries Michael Gove, Jesus. And in the Mail today, this is like the first anniversary of Labour coming to power. And the headline says, how much damage can one joyless, self-satisfied North London lawyer who doesn't dream, doesn't care for novels, and can't remember the last time he got a bit tipsy do to Britain in 4 years? He doesn't even know what a woman is. Sure, he's had to ask Lord Ali. But he came out and said that child poverty in this country is a moral mission for the Labour Party. And then, during PMQs, they let this little bombshell drop that sickness benefits is going to rise to £100 billion a year. That's sickness benefits. Do you know who that includes, don't you? Correct. All the illegals. He then went on to say, inward investment of £120 billion. Amazon have just invested £40 billion into this country. Is that by not paying tax, or what is that inward investment? He's always banged on about there's £63 billion worth of inward investment coming into this country. That's BlackRock, man, buying all the housing stock up. So they never tell you the detail of what that inward investment is. He did not tell anybody what the inward investment from Amazon, although he said it was 40 billion. He didn't say what we had to do in this country to get the 40 billion off Amazon. Are we selling them housing stock? Are we giving them Marks and Spencers? Well, what's going on? And it's Punch and Judy for the masses. PMQs. That's all it is. It's just stupidity on a huge scale. And then they said, the NHS is the 77th birthday on Saturday of the NHS. And it was this party that created the NHS. And it's the Labour Party that's brought it to its knees. Tony Blair, PFI, Private Financial Initiative. So they would build a hospital and then rent it to the NHS or the hospital that was going to use the building and make a shit ton of money out of it. It was corrupt. Why couldn't this country just build a hospital and say to the NHS, there you go, for free? Rather than say, well, PFI, there's a company, they'll build a hospital and then we'll rent the hospital back off them. Corrupt. And then, out of nowhere, Kemi Not Good Enough kind of hit the ball out of the park by saying, Prime Minister's Chancellor doesn't look very happy to hear what's going on. And then she asked if he was going to sack her, and he failed to rule out sacking Rachel Reeves. And then about half an hour later, by about 1 o'clock, Downing Street had released an urgent vote of confidence in her. It's a bit like being a football manager. When the chairman says, no, his job's fine, it's safe, we're very happy with what he's doing, you know he's going to get sacked tomorrow. But I'm sure that Labour simply has a death wish. Les Griffiths says, it's not just the hospitals, try and get an NHS dentist. So it looks like Sister Rachel had to come to me today for a final confessional. And it appears that she has decided she's going to resign Friday afternoon, so that by the time we get to Monday morning, everybody's forgotten about it, because that's where it's the media graveyard on a Friday afternoon. And that looks like what it's going to do. He's a soulless North London lawyer, that man. Look at his eyes. They're dead. They're shark's eyes. They're dead. The party, Labour Party, I'm sure you will agree that I've been telling you for well over the last 18 months, the party is dead. Is Keir Starmer scaring you yet? When did that kick in? But I'm hearing rumours that Rachel from Accounts had a word with the Speaker before entering the chamber today. What she said, I don't know. But it looks like she had a word with the Speaker before entering the chamber. So there was evidently something going on, and Starmer had no clue. But then again, it's a bit like if you've had a row with your lover, and they're kind of standing up at the I'm not suggesting that they're lovers, of course. I'm just using it as a metaphor. The guy will kind of style it out, and just talk to his mates and stuff, and the woman will just be sitting there sobbing her heart out, bit like the girl that asked me to marry her. I was watching the England match, and for months and months and months before, it was a leap year, months and months before, she'd been saying to me, if I ask you to marry me, will you say yes? If I ask you to marry me, will you say yes? I was like, yeah, of course I will. We've been together for a long time, 7 or 8 years at that point. And so I'm watching the footy on the telly, and exactly the same thing happened as what I believe happened today. An event happened. She got down on one knee while I'm watching the England match, and she says, I love you, blah, 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 will you marry me? And I looked at her. I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm asking you to marry me. I said, I'm watching the footy. England's on the telly, man. So she just sat next to me and did the Rachel Reeves thing. The chin went, the bottom lip went, the sniffle started, and I was like, what's wrong with you? And she said, I've just asked you to marry me, and you said no. I said, I thought you were joking. No. So that's why I said earlier, I think Rachel Reeves has let womankind down. The fact that she sat in the chamber. Look, if it was whatever's going on in her life, whatever's going on in her career, if it brought her to tears, she shouldn't have sat there in the chamber. She should have said to the Speaker, this is going on, I need to not be on camera because I'm quite upset. And she could have told the whips, she could have told the Labour Party about what was going on and that she couldn't sit there. And then Keir Starmer could have come out, not out, but out, and it could have just said, look, what's going on? What's going on with Rachel? But evidently, there's no empathy, there's no compassion, there's no feeling in the Labour Party for what's going on. I want to give you a round of applause because, if the illegals was an Olympic sport, we would be gold medalists in this country. What am I talking about? So far this year, this is 2025, there's 20,000 of them come into this country on little boats. That's a record. And I have said to you before, back in 1997, when I started covering this with the Labour Party and Tony Blair, Germany had said to France and Britain, you're going to have to take more illegals. We're getting 100,000 a year and it's crippling our country. We can't do this anymore. So Tony Blair, whose only job was to get this country into Europe and not allow us out, him and Robin Cook, treaties of Nice and Rome, made sure that we couldn't control our borders. And so Britain at that time, we were allowing, I think, total immigration was around somewhere between 22 and 25,000 per year. That's total. That's not just a head count, because remember, the Labour government, the shysters that they were, they counted the male heads coming in and then counted the male heads and their wives and their children going out. So if one guy came in and there was a wife and 2 kids went out with him, they would say, well, that's that 4 times. It was a double bluff. They never told you that. 20,000 illegals have come into this country so far this year. 1 in 3 babies born in this country are to foreign mothers. So you know one of the reasons why they're coming to this country, it's because they get free healthcare, free dentistry, free everything. But it's the free healthcare. If they can get their wives over here, rather than drop kids in the desert somewhere, they'll get them over here. They'll get the best treatment in the NHS by doctors that probably speak their native tongue. 1 in 3 babies born here are to foreign mothers. That has to be a drain on the NHS. It has to be. Because they're coming over here for the healthcare, the free healthcare. And we can't get in to see a doctor. Now, my health at the moment is not great, but I rang the doctors on Monday morning. Blah, 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 blah. I need to have a doctor's appointment. Yes, 8th of July. That's only 10 days. Yeah, that's all we've got. I said, but I was in emergency care at A&E on Friday night. I could die over the next couple of days. And she's like, well, that's the first appointment we've got. So came off the phone. Nurse Ratchet had a go at me. So on Tuesday morning, I rang them and said, look, this is where I am. My antibiotics have finished. I need another prescription. I need an appointment with a doctor to sign this off to give me the antibiotics. And they said, we haven't got any appointments. I said, this is life-threatening. So if you want to argue with me, I suggest you go and ask the doctor. I'm being courteous, but I need to see a doctor, PDQ. My blood sugars are 129. Maybe you want to go and speak to a doctor. And she said, right. And she said, have you got a discharge letter? I said, I don't need a discharge letter. It's on the app. He's written his notes within the app. Go and read it. She came back. I said, if you hold the line, sir. Came back like 2 minutes later. Oh, right, sir. Right. We've got an appointment tomorrow morning at 10:40. That's today. And I said, right, are we booking that? And she said, yes. We'll book that, and I'll go and have a word with the doctor. So the illegals are getting better treatment on the NHS than I am, and I've been putting into the NHS for over 55 years. And I can't get a doctor's appointment. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, they can Foxtrot Oscar. So I just want to, we're going to talk about Israel and Iran, because World War III is still on the doorstep. It's still a goer, proper goer. But Voyager 2, it seems that, and NASA are not releasing this, and I'm doing it to kind of let you know that there's something going on. Now, I don't know whether, because it's in essence in the galactic wild, I don't know whether they're doing it just to kind of get some more publicity for NASA, the North American Space Agency. But Voyager 2, the second one that we jettisoned into space, it's been in space for 46 years. Now, they never thought that it would keep going for this long. But Voyager 2 has sent a new message, and they're not saying what this message is. E.T. phone home, by chance? Now, you are aware that Voyager 2 is running on 59 KB of memory. This is 50 years ago when they put this together. The phone that you are either possibly watching on this, or you do all your stuff in, that's got more processing power than anything in any of the Voyagers or any of the moon landings ever had. 59 KB worth of memory, and back then that would have cost a fortune. It would have been the size of a small domestic home, but it's also powered by the similar power of a fridge light bulb. So when you open the door, you'll go, oh, that's Voyager 2 then. When that light bulb comes on when you open the fridge, that's the same processing power, the same power that Voyager 2's got, with 59 KB of memory. But it's just sent back a new message, and nobody's saying what this new message is. They're also saying that it's only got 5 instruments left that are active. So it's kind of powering down as it heads off into however far out. It's approximately 12 billion miles away. So Voyager 2 is going to be dead by 2030. It's only got a few years left. But what is this message that NASA are not releasing that it's sent back? Because it's just hurtling through space. 46 years. And suddenly, they thought it was dead. They thought they were never going to get anything back. Suddenly, however long it's taken from 12 billion miles away to get here, even at the speed of light, that's taken some time. But 5 instruments are active. What has it sent back? I am going to do some digging over the next few days, but NASA's not released the message. They won't. But I just wanted to put it on your radar because I think it's a fantastic story. And I think that it's one of those things that it's got a romanticism to it. But maybe it's for MASH, get smash is the message from the aliens. Or it's ET phone home. Or it's something funny. Can you imagine if it's proper little silver fellas going, right, you're wrong uns, we've had enough. You're taking us to the brink of nuclear war, right? You can stop that. We'll be over yours by the time we've done the 12 billion miles. So we might get to you sometime 2560. Keep an eye open. You never know. You might see it somewhere and go, bloody hell, Adrian was talking about that the other night. And then you can tell me in the comments. Unless, let me have a look at the comments just in case somebody knows. Oh, yeah, English Bottle Cap. Voyager 2 says, I want my country back. The U-Bovril says, it sent back a message. Run out of baked beans. I see you says, it's me Chinese order, I never got delivered. Shut that door. It's saying my battery is nearly dead. Martine, why are they upset? Why is it? Because it's all bot farms? You see, integrity means telling the truth. Integrity means being able to stand by anything that you say or do because it has integrity. So my couple of hundred people watching tonight, I'm very happy with, because I know that they're critical thinkers. I know that they get the game of life. And that's why I love this community. So there's no bots here. But I bet there are there. In fact, I know there are. Right, let's get into the real meaty, deep stuff. And it's come out today that North Korea are pretty brassed off with Israel. So North Korea have said they're going to target Israel. They have nuclear bombs, nuclear power. Pakistan are also saying they will step in and support Iran against Israel. North Korea are saying we will step into the war. We're not afraid of America. Exactly the same as Pakistan. The USA are saying they're not going to give ordnance, missiles and stuff to Ukraine because they want to build up their stockpile. They want to keep their ordnance as they're running low. So there's this posturing going on where if I hadn't said anything to you, there was nothing in the mainstream today, really. There's been some negotiation with Trump and Israel. I think Trump's pulled everybody back from the brink. And remember that Israel has the Samson option, because there's some people are speculating that Israel won't last any more than another 5 or 10 years. There's word that Netanyahu has delayed any appearance in court for whatever the Israelis are trying to get him in court for. So there's this posturing going on in the background. But North Korea have said they're willing to give Iran nuclear warheads. Now, I'm not injecting you with fear porn. I'm just giving you context that this is possibly about flogging missiles. And America's running low. They're not going to give any more to Ukraine. Iran have said, yes, we're running low, but we're mighty Iran, so we're bigger than Israel. North Korea were backing Iran with Russia, but Russia have seemingly backed off completely. So China are backing Iran. And China needs stability. China won't go for nuclear war. They won't go for war at all. China likes stability so they can make money. Now, Iran is fully armed, having used only 5% of their missiles. And they're telling Israel, look, we are fully armed. We've only used 5% of our missile power previously. Russia's backing Iran. But they're saying they no longer want to sell military equipment to Iran. So it's all the deep state stuff that everybody's just posturing around everybody else. Nobody's pressing the button. Nobody's going full booner. But some of the big, and again, for context, the US is freezing missile shipments to Ukraine over stockpile fears. But I keep telling you, any reportage that comes out, and I've been telling you for 2.5 years, and if you've listened to my radio shows, I've been telling you for 40 years, there were 7, give or take, countries that the Rothschilds central bank conglomerate want the central banks of. And I'll give them to you. They wanted to get the central bank of Syria, Venezuela, Hungary, North Korea, Iran, I said North Korea, Russia and China. 7. So now they've got Syria. So that's down to 6. It looks like Iran's playing a canny game, but they'll take as long as they want to get the central bank. So you'll be left with 5 central banks: Venezuela, Hungary, China, Russia, North Korea. And it's those 3 main ones. Venezuela, they kind of have a load of oil. Hungary, they're getting a kicking from Europe by the European Union. So it's just really Russia, China, and North Korea that they want the central banks of. Once they own the central banks, and also don't forget, you're going digital, whether you like it or not. And I will get to the fiat currency, the paper currency that we use. So we've now got 5 central banks, and it won't be long before they own those. Maybe it's a bit of a skirmish with Ukraine and Russia, and Russia's in Crimea because that's where all the gas and oil is going to come ashore. They're not going to give that up to Ukraine. And it would mean China and North Korea. Just keep watching this space. Whenever you hear anything whatsoever that's going on in Venezuela, Hungary, North Korea, China and Russia, it's about the central banks. It's about nothing else. It could be a completely different story, but you can guarantee that if you scrape the surface and dig deep enough, you will find that it is about the central banks. And talking of the fiat currency, as I wasn't, but I did say you're going to have to go... you're going to have to go digital, is because there was a piece today where they're talking about getting rid of some of our icons from like the £5, the tenner, the £20 notes, or the £50 notes, getting rid of Churchill. They're getting rid of iconic English or British people. and they want to put diversity on it, I'll guarantee you they'll want you not to have that cash in your mitts, because I don't know whether you want diversity and stuff that upsets people on the paper currency, because people won't keep it in their wallet. I won't. If there's some idiot on a fiver or a tenner or a £20 note, I'd rather go digital. But that is what they're up to. Just be aware that they're at it. Right, let's just have a look at this. Let's have a look at the messages. Yeah, I know we were, Les. I know. So just be aware, the fiat currency, the paper money, they're going to put stuff on that you probably think, oh, how do we end shite, man? So you won't keep it. You'll go fully digital. And also, keep an eye on Trump versus Musk, because it's handbags at dawn. Like a couple of girls. Handbags at dawn. So Musk says, don't want this bill going through, the big, beautiful bill going through. It'll bankrupt the country. And Trump saying, here, mate. Oh, that was it. So he said, Trump was at Epstein's Island. And Trump went, oh, right, well, we'll just stop all your subsidies. Don't worry. And then Musk backtracked and then came out. Not out, just came out. And he was a bit upset. And then took his time, said, oh, maybe I was a bit rash, I was a bit hasty, maybe I shouldn't do that. And then again today, he's come out and gone, oh, bloody hell, man. And he's I mean, I don't know what he's on. Strong coffee, evidently. But Trump's very contained and together. But Musk is pretty erratic at the moment. But it's fascinating. The most powerful man in the world against the wealthiest man in the world. And one of them is a bit erratic. They're still at it. They're still going at it. Still scoring points. But the Donald is kind of looking at him as I don't know, an errant son, maybe, or something like that. I think we need to call it a day at that. Oh yes, just a little quirky thing for you. Today, 2nd of July, the year 2000 was 9,131 days ago. And in 9,131 days, it will be 2050. So, as you and I speak now, we are closer to 2050 than we are to the year 2000. I shit you not. Did you ever think that you were going to hear that? Being closer to the year 2050? Or was it Zager and Evans in the year 2535? So we are 9,131 days away from the year 2000. We are 9,131 days from the year 2050. But because of the timing, now that I'm saying it, we are closer to 2050 than we are the year 2000. Remember that? Y2K, mate. So please, if you can, and you've enjoyed the live so far this evening, smash the likes, man. It gets me into the algorithm. Roy says that's bonkers. Les Griffith says I'm off. Good night. See you, Les. Martine, where have you gone? I sold my car and I had to give her proof to give to her bank for her to get the cash out. Wow. I know. They're monitoring everything. Everything. Because they want proof of to make sure that you're not laundering stuff. But, you know, is drug dealing that rife? If anybody's laundering that much? I mean, I think, is it not $5,000 or something? Anything over than that, you've got to explain where you've got it from. Oh, yeah, just rob banks for a living. So thank you to everyone for your kindness and support so far. Smash the likes if you can, please. The closer we get to 200, the better. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. The next live will be Sunday, because it's Wednesday. I just need a day or two to regroup. I've got radio shows to do, and I'll regroup for those. So see you Sunday, 8 o'clock, as always. And whatever you do, wherever you go, be safe, be well. Don't forget the Battenberg. And remember, Adrian Allen's Theatre of the Mind, the lives, they're not a show, they're a mission. See you Sunday, 8 o'clock.